Thanks, Annette. No pressure. Good morning, Toastmasters, judges, and guests. Some of you were in this room a year ago when I told a story in this contest about my first day on skis. The gist of it was, as a dopey 14-year-old boy, riding a chairlift for the first time by myself, in panic, I flung open the bar where it said exit here and jumped into the protective netting. Not realizing I was supposed to ride the lift onto the platform and down the incline. Raise your hand if you have a memory, faint or distinct, of me giving that speech a year ago. Well, preparing for this contest, I racked my brain for an appropriate subject, and once again, I have to return to alpine idiocy. This time, however, I do not have the excuse of being a 14-year-old kid whose first day on skis. This event happened 25 years later, a responsible, wage-earning adult and parent, and someone who had been on the ski hill hundreds of times. Yet, imbecility ensued. Let me set the stage. It was Christmas morning 2000. Back then, global warming was just a twinkle in our eye, but I will tell you it dawned 35 degrees and sunny here in Park City, and it went up to 50 that afternoon. My wife and kids and I went to Park City Mountain Resort. We met another family. The 8 or 9 of us went skiing in that fun, albeit frustrating way that parents shepherd their kids around the hill. Late in the morning, the wives and kids went to the lodge. My buddy and I were riding up a slow chairlift, might have been Pioneer, sun in our face, and I idly remarked, "Boy, it would be great to get high right now." And he looked at me, and he pulled out a joint. So we smoked it, and afterwards I said, "Boy, I've got cotton mouth. I wish I had a Jolly Rancher or something." And he looked at me, and he pulled out a juicy orange. Well, we ate the orange, and we're near the top of the lift. I figured I'd go to the well one more time. I said, "Boy, it would be great to have $2 million right about now." And he looked at me and he said, "I can't help you with that." C'est la vie. So my buddy and his family went home for Christmas dinner. We kept skiing, and I brought my daughter. Now she's a PhD, but then she was a bratty 12-year-old, prone to petulance, up to Jupiter Bowl. So for those of you who've skied at Park City, when you get off the Jupiter chair and are facing down the hill, there's a rope line to the left signifying out of bounds. It's right near the forest. So I said to my daughter, "Let's duck out of bounds and get a few fresh powder turns and come back in." She goes, "Okay, Dad." We duck the rope, we start skiing, and apparently I bit off a little bit more than I could chew. Because before too long, I saw the snow fence of the resort 20 yards, then 40 yards, then 60 yards above me as we were going down the path. I didn't want to climb, and I knew she didn't want to climb. So I put on a brave face and I said, "Let's keep going." And she goes, "Dad, where are we?" I said, "Don't worry about it." And before too long, I saw a sign. And the sign said, "No parking, October through April." And I thought to myself, we're not in Kansas anymore. And we sure as hell ain't in Park City Resort no more neither. So we kept going and going, and then I saw a sign on the side of the road. I forget the name of the state park, but for the sake of the story, we'll call it Joe Schmo State Park. So I pull over at Joe Schmo State Park, and I whip out my flip phone, and I call 911. I say I'm lost in the woods with my daughter. She patches me through to the ski patrol. The ski patrolman says, "Sir, can you tell me where you are?" And for a moment, I thought about being my natural wise guy self and saying something like, "You know that big tree, and there's a boulder near it, and there's snow," but my daughter was silently whimpering behind me. So instead I said, "I'm at Joe Schmo State Park, right at the entrance." And he said to me something I'll never forget. He said, "Sir, can you save yourself?" And I never met my grandfather. He died 30 years before I was born. Russian immigrant, spoke broken English, but I think I channeled him when I responded, "Mister, if I could save myself, I wouldn't be calling you, would I?" He says, "Hold the phone." And he comes back on the phone a couple minutes later. He goes, "I know where you are. Don't move. I'm going to send a snowmobile for you." So we were standing there in the sunshine. I was kind of chilling out. My daughter was silently crying behind me. and a snowmobile comes by. It wasn't the ski patrol, it was a recreational snowmobiler. I said, where are we? He said, you're on Guardsman's Pass Road. I said, what happens if we continue down the road? He goes, there's a utility plant about half a mile down, and then the entrance to Brighton Resort is another mile down. I said, really? He said, yeah, that would be an expensive cab ride, probably $100 back to Park City. You see, Nugget, that was before Uber was invented. Well, we hung around, and the ski patrol came, and I did what I do best. I played dumb. We didn't duck any ropes. I followed my daughter, and we were in the trees. And he was either a mellow Utard or in the Christmas spirit, but whatever, he just put my daughter on the snowmobile, threw me a rope, and I water skied behind him back into Pinecone Ridge. The whole adventure only took about 90 minutes, but there were some tense moments. So, as you know, I don't like to speak without an underlying message, and thus far, I've just given you a semi-humorous, semi-embarrassing account of a long-ago day. So let me try and encapsulate this, so perhaps you can navigate less choppy waters in your lives than I've had to myself. So please remember this, Toastmasters. When in Rome, don't diss the Pope. When in prison, don't drop the soap. When you're skiing, don't cut the rope. And the very last thing that I want to say is if you're getting high on Christmas Day, and you go out of bounds in search of powder, and your kids' complaints are getting louder, and you're bouncing around on the road to Brighton, don't be flustered, don't be frightened. Whip out the phone and call the ski patrol. And just remember your old pal Joel. Don't be flustered, don't be glum. Just act like you're freaking dumb.